Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe. Episode 7 of our A Closer Look into the World of the X-Files, Season 3, Episode 7. This one entitled The Walk. November 10th, 1995 is when this episode first aired. Rob Bowman, again, sitting in director's seat, but first-time writer, John Shiban, if that's how you say it. I did, every time I see a newcomer contributing, be it director or a writer, I definitely take a quick look at their history in IMDb. And you might be interested to know, this guy wrote that film Rest Stop from 2006. I can't remember if he wrote the sequel or not, but the original, the first one he did. I didn't even realize there was a sequel to that movie, to be honest. He's also written 5 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, 4 episodes of Breaking Bad. And interesting, the pilot for that series, Masters of the Air. So it seems like maybe he's got some history in his going on in his career. Not sure where he came from exactly. I didn't do that much of a deep dive, but anyways, that's just the tip of the iceberg. He's worked on a lot of TV and stuff. But Rest Stop was the one that jumped out at me, and I thought, interesting. We got a little bit of horror going on here with this guy. The guest casting in this was pretty good. I don't know if we really had. Well, I wanted to say the standout might be Ian Tracey as Leonard, Trimble, or Rappo, our main antagonist in this film. And, gosh darn it, okay, you really have to forgive me and excuse me, but I know exactly right where it's on the shelf. I have a suggestive watch for you guys. Oh, here it is. Oh, man. If you want a companion film to watch as a double feature, Lucio Fulci's Enigma. If you've seen this movie, you know right where we are going with The Walk. The two go hand in hand perfectly together. It would be a great double feature. If you want to see a good, kind of like a Carrie ripoff, but I was really reminded by this film watching The Walk, the X-Files episode, right? So anyways, I had to do that. Enigma, man. I always got to throw some Fulci in there if I can. So anyhow, also another spotlight on special effects. Shauna McGrath, she has worked on films like Deep Rising, Final Destination, Trick or Treat from 2007. I mean, that's like a holy grail of horror fans anthologies, man. That might be one of the greatest horror anthologies ever. If you've never seen Trick or Treat, man, you are missing. That film Beneath, and Freddy vs. Jason, but there's a whole bunch of others. I just, kind of cherry picked my way through the ones that interested me. But Trick or Treat, man, that's, dude, and to have been part of that production, holy crap, man, that's pretty awesome. Also, apparently this might have inspired the writer might have been inspired by Johnny Got His Gun. If you're familiar, Metallica uses clips of that in their video 1. But I understand they were reading the novel first, and somebody brought it to their attention as they were working out the possibilities for what the video for 1 would be. Somebody brought to their attention that there was actually a film adaptation of it, which apparently they did not know. And that's nice to know that your heavy metal bands, man, are reading before they're catching things on film. That's just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of cool, man. I love Metallica, man. One of the greats. Okay, so anyways, real quick, being already 4 minutes in. Really, it's a pretty simple story, man. We got Rappo, Leonard Trimble. Dalton Trumbo might have been your main character, and Johnny Got His Gun. That's interesting. Rappo, he is a quadruple amputee, no arms, no legs, just like Johnny Got His Gun, man. He does have his face intact, though, unlike poor Johnny. He does have his face intact. He gained these injuries from Desert Storm, and he is not happy at all. And he has this ability to astral project his body from his bed, and he begins to systematically terrorize those who are in command, were in command of his unit, and he blames them for how he came back. It's interesting. It's one of the few moments you get a really serious moment with Mulder when he's like face to face with this guy. Man, he does not like him. And it's weird because you don't see that all the time when Mulder faces off with an antagonist like this. You get it occasionally, but it's like he takes this one personal. And, he basically just sits there and looks at him and just like, dude, you chose, man. You choose to join. You chose the possibilities and outcomes that could possibly come your way. So why are you taking out your angst on those when it was up to you? I mean, you're the one who chose. And I thought, wow, that really kind of hit right with me, because there's a lot of people today that are just, I don't know, man, they're just like warmonger hungry, with no freaking clue of what it's like to actually be in combat. Now, I volunteered. I was U.S. infantry. I volunteered for Desert Storm, 90 to 94. As so happens, as far as I got was Germany. But I volunteered. Okay, I knew the risks. I understood the risks. And I let the cards play themselves out. Fortunately for me, I got as far as Germany. I say because I knew I had some friends that came out of Desert Storm, and I knew one that it was had a few things rolling around up there. Nothing severe, but I mean, war impacts you, man, and it can do it on a devastating scale. But, and so, I mean, these people today, man, it's almost kind of like some people today, they have no idea of the ramifications of just launching into wars, man. And I don't know. So, it's just, I mean, for Mulder to have said that, I guess the line just hit me right. And so this guy's taking out his angst, man, on anyone and everyone. He's doing it in a terrifying way, and there are no boundaries for him. He's going after the general who's in charge of the hospital. Of course, this is all set in a military hospital. But he'll even go to the length of what he does is he goes after the families. There's 2 families we learn about that have been burned alive in their homes, and he will not let those he's targeting kill themselves. Our main guy that we meet first, Lieutenant Colonel Victor Stans, who's in pretty bad shape. He has tried to commit suicide like 3 times, and Rappo will not let him. Now, of course, it takes a while to the episode before you realize who your main antagonist is. So I've sort of given it up early on here, but it does take a little while to build and to figure out who it is. And of course, it's a shock because he's a quadruple amputee, and so until the astral projection element comes in, but he'll go to these people's houses. He'll kill their family. He goes even to the length in this episode of killing the general's son by suffocating him in his sandbox in his backyard. And really, there are this got some moments of some real horror. There's a scene where he goes after the general's secretary. She's swimming before she goes home. She decides to take a swim in their pool on base, right? And like an Olympic-sized pool. Well, man, there's this creepy scene, man, where she's swimming, of course, on her back, and she's looking up at the ceiling, and she sees this might be one of the more effective moments I have seen like this, man. And there are some effective swimming pool moments, man, whether it's the Legacy, though nothing happens. I love Suspira just on the camera shots and angles, points of view. The Prowler. This might be one of the best swimming pool moments, though. she sees the shadow coming up to her shadow on the ceiling. And she immediately stirs up, looks around, looks under the water, and in a very quick, deliberate way that you would expect in real life, people really do this, in too much times in films, everything is done in a cliche, weird, sort of very unrealistic way. But I thought that scene played out very deliberately in a very, very real way. She looks underwater, she's looking all around, and she looks back up to the ceiling again, which I thought was effective. And then I guess, her internal alert system just starts to, go up, and she just decides, I can get the heck out of this pool. She starts racing towards the edge. She grabs the ledge and starts to pull herself up. This form of water, man, just comes right up out of the water and yanks her and pulls her under. I thought that whole sequence was very effective. Next effective was probably the boy in the sandbox. And that was disturbing because, really, we're going to go that far. We're going to go there, and they did. But there were other visual moments that were also quite impactful in terms of his ability, in terms of his astral projection and what he could do outside of his body. In the end, ultimately, he's looking to push the general's buttons enough that he'll get him to ultimately kill him and put himself out of his own misery, which the general does not go for in the end, which is great. Really great. And that leads into a natural extension of the episode, which does have its resolution found, I'll just say this, found in the character of Lieutenant Colonel Vector Stans. There's a scene involving him too. In the beginning, we see one of his suicide attempts where it's so reminiscent of Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, where he's in that, where they got the hot tub, bathtub, or whatever, that's heated up water, and he gets it all going up scalding hot, and he tries to kill himself that way. But Rappo is able to hit enough buttons in order to get people in there, pulling up out of the water. And that was a pretty disturbing scene too, man. Now I completely get it, man. That water's probably ice cold, not boiling hot. And they're just pulling him out and all the makeup effects and everything. But man, it's pretty good, man. It is really pretty good, man. You're just like, whew, wow. And then Rappo has got Roach, man, as his personal mailman, who is, what it reminds me to? It reminds me of Exorcist 3, actually, some of this. Excuse me. Reminds me of Exorcist 3. When the one guy, the main doctor there, was doing the bidding of, what's his name there? Our resident there. I can't think of his name, man. Come on. He was the sheriff in H2, Zombies H2. Brad Dourif. Holy smokes, man. It's in my mind. Brad Dourif reminds me of that. The guy who is the sort of the mailman for Brad Dourif's character in that. The killer there, not the Zodiac. What did they call him? Anyways, so interesting. Some really interesting moments. It's amazing I only saw this episode. I only watched it once. I love to try to revisit these things 2 or 3 times before I do this, but with the 4th of July, I'm thinking about body bags here in X-Files. We're right here, so in real time, in terms of on Wednesday or Thursday will be the 4th of July. So happy 4th of July to those of you who are getting ready for that, and families and everything that's going to be going on for you. I hope it's a great day to celebrate just independence and freedom and all that we have in this country. Still, we have. It was bought with a price, but it's I don't know. It's just we ought to be grateful for what we got here. I don't think I'd want to live anywhere else. Although, man, James Cox's Finland, man, sometimes looks pretty good, man. It's what a gorgeous country. Anyways, I'm way off track. Check out Lucio Fulci's Enigma as a suggested watch. And great, The Walk, great episode from Rob Bowman. And we'll continue right on along. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.